I'm Marla from Inward Office Yoga, and we're here with one of our instructors, Jen, who's going to speak with us about melt. Hi, Jen.
Hey, Marla.
So, how did you learn about melt?
Well, interestingly enough, I had the pleasure last year of breaking my wrist. And it was a pretty bad break and a fracture, and so I was casted for 6 weeks, and during those 6 weeks, I developed so much scar tissue that through therapy, we really couldn't break through it. So I was going to 4 hours per week of physical therapy, and we could only get my wrist to move to about here. So as a yoga instructor, that was completely unacceptable to me. So we were talking with the doctors and the physical therapists, and they suggested the only thing they had left to offer was that they could sedate me and manually manipulate my wrist, basically re-break through the scar tissue to get it to move. And luckily I was going to the yoga ashram for Family Week the next week, so I said, well, let's hold that thought. I'm going to go to the ashram and think about it. And while I was there, somebody said, can I show you something that will help you with your wrist? And I was like, yes, definitely,
Yeah.
So she pulls out these little balls and basically explained it real quick. And I did this one session, took about 20 minutes. And after that, my wrist moved from about here to about there, which I think is a pretty significant, like 20 degrees or something on that.
Almost the same as what physical therapy did.
Had done over like 4 months and 4 hours a week. And so I was sold. I was like, okay, what else do I have to do to learn? And so as you can see today, it's all the way as much flexion as the other wrist. And I'm back in handstands again.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
I know. We're happy. We're happy you're teaching
yes,
yoga.
Definitely. I was like, don't take yoga away from me. That's one thing I can't live without. So.
So since we do most of our classes at work, what uses do you think melt has at work?
Well, melt is pretty much good for almost any ailment that you might have because it works on rehydrating the connective tissue. The connective tissue is a three-dimensional fluid matrix that's literally surrounding and supporting every single part of your body. So without proper support, you don't have proper stability. Without proper stability, you can't have proper flexion. You also can't have good reception through your body because the sensory neurons lie mostly in the connective tissue. So if there's stuck stress in any of those areas, you're just working slower as a whole. So in any case of work, we can have some wrist issues, usually some carpal tunnel things kind of go along with that repetitive motion. So melt is going to help to draw the fluids up and then help to run them up the chain of your body. So it's going to help with the wrist, with carpal tunnel, things like that. It's also going to help with your grip. It's going to go, hopefully, all the way up into the neck and the shoulders and give you a little bit more relaxed feeling through the entire upper part of your body. And then when you do the foot treatment, it's really great for the low back. You're sitting all the time, you're getting lots of that compression through the bottom region here, and we want to rehydrate that so that your neurons can quickly move from your feet up to your head, right? So that's going to improve balance, it's going to improve that low back. It's going to be supported so that your spine can actually be more cushioned and react better to impact. So whether you're doing sports or having your stress from sitting, either way, it's really going to help to recondition the body, help with balance. It's going to help. I've torn both hamstrings, by the way, also. A lifetime of sports has, left me with a few injuries as well. So if I melt my feet before I do yoga, I feel a seamlessness through the backs of my legs, where if I don't melt, I can feel those injuries flaring up again.
Wow.
So it's going to help also with reducing inflammation, right? Especially in joints. When you get inflammation in the joints, it becomes, I ask that question all the time, people go, not good. And I'm like, right, not good. It's osteoarthritis. And it's not good, right? So we want to keep those joints hydrated, open, and mobile. And so melt is going to help us with all of those things, really.
Great. So how often do you melt?
Well, I try to melt every day. right? It is my job, so that helps too. But I really do feel the difference between when I melt and when I don't. And if I miss a day, it's not like the world is going to end or I'm going to stop functioning, you know. But once you get used to the feeling of being rehydrated as opposed to dehydrated, and by that I don't mean that you don't drink enough water. It's not that kind of hydration. It's actually, you know, hydrating from within and getting that to move past the stress so that your body can function more efficiently. So I try to melt every day. I would recommend about 3 times a week. Kind of the same time as you would do yoga, maybe. You melt before you do yoga. Or if you don't do any physical exercise, it's going to be really great for you to start to feel better, right? So you feel like, okay, I can move my joints. You know, I've got people who've had every injury in the world, along with every excuse in the world, right? Because then you're like, well, I can't do these things, or somebody told me I can't, or it hurts. But sometimes we can come up with some methods that might help you to start feeling better so that you can start moving a little more and then feeling even better.
Nice. What do you think is the benefit of coming to class weekly?
Well, for one, you're going to make sure that you carve out that time to get your melt in. Because everybody has a life that gets busy and sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. So if you have that spot of time, it's guaranteed that you're going to take that time. So that's one good thing. For 2, you have a second pair of eyes. So you're going to have somebody that can tell you, oh, maybe you know you have it a little bit too far. We can get a little bit more specific. And also, there's so much to the melt method that we can go through it pretty quickly, but with the time to add on from week to week to week, we can really begin to understand why it's working more and get a little bit more in-depth and more personal with your particular problems and how we might be able to, you know, tweak things to work for you.
Yeah. I also like that in class, when I took it with you before, how it's a little different than yoga or maybe other fitness classes because I actually interacted with the people next to me. So as I was melting, we were kind of laughing about this or talking about something. So there was a little bit more team building or interpersonalness about the class itself. So
yeah, and we always want to have those connections with people, and sometimes we don't have enough time during our day to really make a connection. So, and it's nice to also know that your coworkers might be feeling some of the same issues that you are, and how we all deal with them. You know, instead of getting stuck, we can start to move through them.
Nice. Well, thank you, Jen, for talking with us about melt. Thank you.